Hello and a very warm welcome to Tech Circle. You're listening to the latest episode of Tech This Week, where we bring you a weekly roundup of all the major developments in the space of tech startups, enterprise technology, and policy. This is Shweta Sharma, and joining me are my colleagues Payal Ganguly, Anand J, and Supriya Roy. So, second week into Q1 FY 2021 earnings, and a whole host of IT companies declared their results. Last week started with TCS declaring a grim quarter and indicating a slowdown in the sector. But this week, Infosys declared a stellar set of numbers for the June quarter, beating analyst estimates, whereas HCL Tech and Wipro reported encouraging set of numbers.
1 week, things have turned around quite a bit. Last week, when TCS reported, considering that TCS is the largest software services company in the country and they have been leading the growth rate for the industry as such, people expected others to be much worse. But quite the opposite. What we have seen is since Salil Parekh took over as Infosys CEO, the company has actually beaten TCS pretty much in most of the quarters. So Infosys announced a kind of a quasi-merger with investment management and pension funds management company Vanguard in the US. In fact, Wipro also announced an acquisition of a Brazilian services firm, which again could probably boost their top line for the year. So, and the other thing is most companies, whether it's Infosys, HCL, Wipro, all of these companies have shown dramatic improvement in total contract value of deal signings, TCV, what in industry parlance is called TCV, which is actually higher than last year's June quarter. Wipro and HCL, both these companies often see lower end of margin. They have all seen quite good margins this quarter because of larger offshoring, which actually improves margin because the work is now carried out in India and not in the US or Europe.
For more on that, we have with us IT sector analyst Parikh Jain from Parikh Consulting. Hi Parikh, thank you for joining us. What is your take on the quarters to come in the IT sector? What does the growth look like and the overall confidence in the sector?
I think this quarter results of IT service providers were on expected lines. They see the quarter-on-quarter decline, but the good part is the margins and the new deals, which gives the confidence. There are some sector-level challenges which continue to remain in essential retails, travel, and oil and gas. But overall, the mood is positive. I think everybody believes that worst is over in this quarter. So growth should come from either from next quarter or from second half of this financial year. And also some strategic initiatives which are coming right now, which is good, like Infosys announced a large deal and HCL did some captive carve out and Wipro did acquisitions. So in the crisis time, the companies who make investments or who take bold decisions, typically fortune favors the bold. So I think that they are not being too much worried and they are taking bold decisions for acquisitions and new investments. So that's a good sign. So overall, I think the worst is over. And people are preparing for growth for next year.
Right. The deals and the acquisitions definitely given a huge boost to the top line for the quarters to come.
Right.
Parikh, can you also let us a bit on what the sectoral impacts look like for the sectors to come? Travel and hospitality, like you already said, is badly hit. How much of that really, seeps into sectors like BFSI or, even retail for that example?
Right. Yeah, sector specific, you see the biggest chunk for Indian IT industry come from BFSI, and all service providers are saying that BFSI is doing okay. So from that is good. And telecom, I think high-tech telecom is growing for few service providers, and medical and healthcare also is growing. The challenge is that non-retail, which is in that retail, particularly the non-essential retail part, the essential retail is growing. In manufacturing, the few areas like automotive, aerospace manufacturing, that some parts, and then travel and hospitality, your airlines, airports, your hotels, and then oil and gas. That is because of declining prices. So overall, if you say that around 30 to 40% of our IT service portfolio is facing sectorial challenges, so they will show some decline, but that can be compensated by 60 to 65% of two-thirds of portfolio, which will show little bit of positive growth or flattish. So overall, if you say that, I think especially that's why service providers, which are large service providers, which have diversified portfolio across different verticals, are doing better than some of the mid-tiers who are concentrated on a few portfolios. And the good part is that digital is growing for all of them. So some part of discretionary spending is not coming back, but everybody, I think, every firm is now spending more on immediate digital priority, which is virtualization, going on cloud, and that is helping our Indian service providers. Another part is that is the vendor consolidation. So some of these the larger enterprises are relying on few selected service providers. So our Indian tier ones are getting advantage of this vendor consolidation also.
So all in all, in the quarters to come, we're already seeing, green offshoots sprouting about here and there,
Right.
growth beginning, given the macroeconomic situation at large and also the kind of business expectation that each of these companies have for the quarters to come.
You're right. So overall, we are seeing some signs. I think the biggest sign is whether new deals are signing or not. So new deals, everybody is having the good order book, which is more or less the same as last year, sometimes better also. So whatever the challenges we see are in short term because of the immediate supply constraint also, and companies are caught up in this, how to do this kind of transition or manage in this crisis period. But order book is good for everyone. So I think medium term overall prospects are very good. It's just a matter of time when this all growth or transition gets started and get impacted in our franchise.
Right. Another boost of confidence was, Infosys reinstating its full year guidance again. So that was
right.
sign too.
That was good, yeah. And also today morning SCL also did the same thing.
Right.
So I think companies are now starting to give in the guidance. So that shows they have the situation under control, which was not there 3 months back. How does uncertainty is? I think they modeled out what could be the worst, what could be the medium, what could be the average, and what could be the best scenario. So I think that's a good sign. They feel situation is under control for them.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Pari.
Yeah.
Moving on, another big news this week, which was the highlight, was technology giant Google announcing a $4.5 billion investment into Jio platforms. It's Google's first from the $10 billion Indian digitalization fund that it announced earlier this week. And Payal, checks after checks, and they don't seem to stop for Mukesh Ambani, starting from Facebook to Google now. Would you like to weigh in with the details as to what exactly is Jio planning from this investment?
Thanks, Shweta. The deal was done at a valuation lower than that of the Facebook investment, which was the first of the 14 investments announced since April. So that is something we have to keep in mind, which probably implies that both the deals were executed around the same time. Also, with this partnership, RIL now has Google, Facebook, and Microsoft on its strategic side. If you remember, Reliance Industries Limited had announced a partnership with the Azure cloud of Microsoft last year. So, and Mukesh Ambani made a point to, highlight this during the annual general meeting when he announced the investment coming from Google. Also, he said that the partnership between the two companies will see a launch of low-cost 4G or 5G entry-level smartphones. And this might be the second chance for both Google and Jio to take a crack at the device market, because if you recall, Reliance had launched Life smartphones, and Google also tried its hand at slightly premium level smartphones, but we didn't see a lot of market uptake.
What were the other key takeaways from the AGM, Payal? I remember catching glimpses of this super futuristic looking Jio Glass for mixed reality. And of course, there was this strong push on JioMart, right? Can you get us some more details on that?
Right, Supriya. On the JioMart side, Mukesh Ambani made it amply clear that there will be strategic investments to scale the offline to online venture, which will deliver everything from electronics, fashion, groceries, and other things. They're also working very closely with Kirana stores and integrating it on WhatsApp, as well as they have their own chain of stores under the Reliance Retail offering. We also reported earlier this week that Jio was negotiating the acquisition of micro-delivery platform Milkbasket, even though the company strongly denied it. Well, Mukesh Ambani did take the time out during the AGM to give due credit to around 20 startups with which Jio Platforms has formed a strategic alliance over the last few years. They went on an acquisition spree. And setting apart on your Jio Glass comment, Jio actually also announced their full stack 5G solution, which is supposed to be ready to roll out once the spectrum is made available. So I would say a host of announcements condensed into one single AGM.
I wonder if Flipkart and Amazon have any contingency plans in place, given what a juggernaut that Jio platforms aims to create in the times to arrive.
Yeah, and moving on to development from the media tech space this week, Editor G, which is a news aggregation platform founded by former NDTV journalist Vikram Chandra, got acquired by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. Any thoughts there, Supriya?
Personally, it was good news to come by, especially considering what the media industry at large has been reeling through in the COVID-19 world. Given the indiscriminate job cuts, editions shuttering down. Yeah. So in the Editor G deal, we saw the Kolkata-based Indian Industrial and Services conglomerate acquire a 51% stake in Delhi-based Editor G Technologies. So yes, what's in it for the two parties? Well, Editor G gets to fast-track its plan to add more languages and grow on its readership. Currently, it offers news only in Hindi and English. And the Goenka Group gets to create a new line of business along its existing subsidiaries. Currently, it operates entities in retail, energy, entertainment, business process management, among other industries.
And as usual, before we wrap up, let's look at funding deals this week. EdTech segment saw a lot of activity with Vedantu raising a huge round of $100 million.
Yes, it raised a round from hedge fund Kochu Management along with returning investors Tiger Global, Axel and others. With this round, Vedantu's valuation reaches $600 million. It plans to deploy the fresh capital to scale and expand its core area of live classes. More and more parents are taking in on the online education fad with schools shut. Needless to say, the Indian EdTech space over the last couple of months has been charged with numerous acquisitions and mega funding deals. Payal, what do you make of all this cash in the sector and consolidation efforts of the large players?
Well, Supriya, as a wise man, said on Twitter that this is reminiscent of the e-commerce gold rush of yore. But jokes apart, COVID-19 has clearly accelerated the pace of investment in this sector. And we are also seeing a lot of brownfield expansion by larger edtech companies who want to build a full stack model. Given that schools and colleges, like you pointed out, will remain online for a few months, more so the government's push towards standardizing online education could be a very large opportunity for most of these companies. We also heard the General Atlantic-backed Unacademy acquiring a controlling stake in Bloom Ventures-backed Mastery. And they gave the investor an exit during the deal.
It's the second acquisition announcement I think Unacademy has made in past couple of weeks. And other announcements from this space were Yatra partnering with Upgrade's B2B arm for advanced learning and skill development services for its employees. Through the partnership, Upgrade will work with Yatra's clients to build a deployment-ready workforce. And Zishan Hayat's Topper also rolled out one-on-one live coding classes for children aged between 6 and 18 years with an investment of $6 million for the same.
Other major deals this week included robotic process automation company UiPath's $225 million growth round fundraise. The Series E round nudged the company at a post-money valuation of $10.2 billion, thus turning it into a decacorn, as they call it.
You say nudge? I think that's an understatement. Well, we saw Walmart infusing additional $1.2 billion in Flipkart Group in an equity funding round along with some other existing shareholders. And the fund infusion will take place in 2 tranches over the remainder of the fiscal year. And now it values Flipkart at $24.9 billion post-money. With this, it's a wrap on this edition of Tech This Week. Do stay tuned in and logged on to techcircle.in for more interesting news and updates. Many thanks for listening and do take very good care of yourselves.